Hello, my name is Monica. I am a cultural programmer here at Mosaic, and this is part 2 of a video series where I talk to local Latinx businesses. In this episode, I will be talking to 2 dessert companies who use their work to embrace their cultural background.
So just to start off, introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, and your business.
My name is Aaron Arevalo. I own Misery Loves Company Cakes and Art out of Fremont, California.
How did you get started?
I needed to figure out a way to stay home with the kids and accidentally fell into custom cakes, and it worked. So.
How did you find your style of work, and what inspired you to take this path of creativity? Did you have any influences growing up?
Creativity's always been a thing in my family. A lot of really good artists, just people that are good with their hands and making something out of nothing, whether it's dinner or a painting or something. Influences my parents. I mean, they both work really hard and always supportive, so there's never anything myself or one of my brothers couldn't say I'm gonna do, and they weren't gonna. They were just like, great, how do we help you do it, you know? And both my parents are basically amazing chefs, although they're not chefs. But so I'd never really baked before. I'd cooked before because my parents both cook very well. You know, watching them cook and then realizing, oh, I can bake something if it, you know, helps.
Yeah. So on your website it says, we pride ourselves in creating the odd, the weird, and the awesome for you, all while fitting your budget. What's the weirdest cake you have created?
I've done a lot of weird cakes. I get to do cakes for some really cool people, like the guys in Metallica and other musicians in the Bay, and so they do a lot of they like a lot of dark stuff. So I've done, you know, the normal like grave cakes and you know, things that are bloody. The weirdest I did well, one it wasn't that weird. There was a Shining cake, the movie The Shining.
Oh, okay.
It was a cake that I made flow blood from the elevator down the cake.
Oh, okay.
And
cool.
then the weirdest one was a baby cake for a tech company, and it was a baby shower, and there's a baby butt theme boom in cakes where it's a cute little baby butt in a diaper, and they wanted that, and then they asked, like, well, can you put like poop in the diaper? I'm like, I can do one better. I can make it squirt fudge.
Oh, okay.
And so they opted for that, and you know, it was weird, but it was fun.
So what aspect of your upbringing influenced this style of work?
Aspect of my upbringing, again, everything. My family's very supportive. There's a lot of music in the house, and you know, everything I do, whether it's art, cakes, or both, it's, you know, heavily laden in music. I'm listening to music, or inspired by music, and yeah, just home.
Did COVID impact your creative process in any way?
Only in staying afloat. COVID pretty much nearly put me out of business because nobody could have parties to get together. So yeah, it really threw a monkey wrench into things. But yeah, I mean, it you know, there's always a struggle, and that was a big one for everybody. You know, my cakes they are not inexpensive. But now, if you're planning on doing a party, you were doing a party for 30 people, and it was going to be a $800,000 cake. Now you're doing it for 4 people, and I've got to make it work for me and them. So yeah, just being creative and making things work. COVID definitely makes you think outside the box.
Yeah. Were there any positives that came out of the circumstances?
Yeah, you know, so the majority of my business is cakes. The other part is art, and it forced me to flip the switch to art because people could order art. I could ship it out versus a cake where you can't have a party now. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely helped me concentrate well.
So what advice do you have for people pursuing their passion in culinary arts?
Enjoy yourself. I make it a point to only do what I can do very well. This is what I perfect. This is what I'll do. It's going to be perfect every time. I'm not going to try something that may not work out well. So, yeah, do what makes you happy, and just go for it. I mean, there's too many people that aren't enjoying their lives because they're they're working a job they can't stand around people they,
Yeah.
they can't relate to. So if you can find a way to be happy doing what you do, just get it done.
Is there a cake that you're most proud of that you've created throughout the years?
There's a few. I like when I can doing like surrealistic stuff. Like, it's pretty simple. I mean, it was just, this guy was a fisherman and it was his like 50th birthday and they wanted this salmon, and it's big salmon. It looked like a real fish, you know, which sometimes I step back, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. I did that. But yeah, that one was cool. And then the ones, again, for the musicians, a lot of people are, you know, people I look up to, you know, and I did a big cake for Kirk Hammett for his book release parties.
I also saw that on your website that you were on Cake Wars. How was that experience?
That was an experience. Cake Wars was different. I've been on TV before, and I'm like, I'm not worried. But I had never used actual commercial kitchen equipment.
Oh, okay.
They thought I had because I've got this company, but I had only used home ovens and things. So when I was talking to the producers, I was at the end of the filming, they're going over everything, they're interviewing me, and they're asking if, you know, like, how was the kitchen, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, if you noticed, I didn't know how to open the oven doors because I'm used to a home oven. These were like weird barnyard door ovens. So yeah, it was an experience. There's definitely a side of TV you don't get to see, the whole reality side of things. So it was fun.
What advice do you have for people trying to start a small business in general during times like these?
During any time, it's just something you've got to stick to. You know, make sure it's a passion because it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Being self-employed, starting any business, it's going to take up all of your time. And that's the give and take where people work jobs they hate for 40, 50 hours a week, and they're done. It's off their mind. When you have your own, you may love it, but you're going to do it 60, 80, 90 hours a week. So, you know, the advice would be just, you know, make sure it's something you actually enjoy, because there's going to be points where you're wondering why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And if you don't enjoy it, it's going to end quickly.
And lastly, what message do you hope to leave your audience with through your talent?
Being creative, I don't think adults do it enough. I think it's a big part missing in our society, where people get to draw, get to paint, just do something creative, whether it's cooking, baking. And if you can find a niche that helps you pay the bills, or kind of pay the bills, or just, you know, alleviate stress, do it. You know, figure out how to do it and make a living out of it, focus doing it, and enjoy it. You know, live a life you'd rather lead than a job you can't stand, and a Monday through Friday you dread. And
where can people find your work?
I can be found my website, which is www.miserylovesco.biz, B-I-Z. Instagram is miserylovesco510. Yelp is always great if you just want to see what people think, and pictures of cakes and things. The Yelp is just, you know, Yelp, Misery Loves Company, Fremont. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So just start off by introducing yourself, your name, your business, where you're from.
Janeen Salcido. I'm from San Jose, and I own or created Chola Desserts.
Okay. So what inspired you to take this path of creativity with making desserts?
Well, I've always enjoyed baking ever since I was little. It just seemed, you know, like just the measuring. It's just fun to kind of like create this stuff. And I just kind of had an idea of like, what if I did it for fun? You know, what if I did it for money? What if I did it just to have people, you know, like be excited and be like, oh, these are really good. So I was just like, maybe I can do it. So I kind of put it out there like on Facebook, like, if I created something, what would it be called? So I like asked my friends, and they came up with the name. I didn't even come up with it.
So how would you describe the treats that you tend to make, and like, did you have any influences growing up?
I mean, there was, of course, you know, our Mexican heritage and the influences that way of like cooking and all that, and just the basic kind of desserts like churros and the flavoring, that kind of thing. But when I was creating Chola Desserts, I wanted to bring out more of our heritage, because we didn't grow up in like a traditional Mexican home, you know, where Mexican American. My dad is Indian, Native American, and I didn't have that experience of like more of a culture in our, that culture in our life. We didn't really have that.
So was it like more Americanized?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, we heard about their story. I always wanted to experience that. So I thought, well, how can I give back to that? I didn't see anything out there that had this kind of theme. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go for it.
Is there an item on your menu that you're most proud of, or one that that's your favorite?
It's funny because I bake for everyone, but I never have anything at my house. I don't eat desserts that much.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of funny. But when I do make the Mexican hot chocolate cookies, like that is something like I'll really, really eat. And then around Christmas time, I do rum cakes. And so those are, like, I can have some of that. But yeah, I think it's those two that I really like.
Okay. So did COVID impact your creative process in any way, like coming up with new items for your treats?
I didn't have any kind of creativity at all. Like it was just like a standstill. I got sick. A lot of, people I know got sick. Some passed away. So I just I wasn't even thinking about it during that time. So it just kind of laid low. And then I was like, what am I doing? That could have been, perfect opportunity to kind of bump it up. But I just wasn't.
Yeah, I think that
wasn't
happened
having it.
to a lot of business owners. They got a little dismotivated with
Yeah.
COVID. And there was a lot going on for everyone. And I think everyone just was handling it differently too.
Yeah.
That had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and I know other people who have their own small businesses and it happened to them,
Yeah.
They're like, I don't have no creativity in me at all right now. Now I'm starting to think of other things to do and to try to like get back out there. It's just hard because some people have like a hustler, not in a bad way, but that hustle, that motivation, that I got to get out there, and I don't have that naturally to like hustle myself out there, be like, hey, look at it, so I just have to find my little balance so see where it goes.
So how did COVID impact your business, and were there any positives that maybe came out of the uncertain circumstances?
Like I said, it was just kind of like at a standstill.
Okay.
I wasn't really doing anything with it to try to like promote myself.
Yeah.
Which is now making me, try to think of other flavors of cupcakes to do, and what else can I do with another flavor of this,
Is there any advice you would give to anyone considering starting a small business during a time like this?
Yeah, it's so crazy the time that we're in right now, because there's just uncertainties. I mean, that's in anything to try to start a business, but like right now when we're living in, it's even more because it could shut down all over again. Everybody thinks about that, like, oh, it's going to come back and we're going to shut down all over again. But I think just if that's what's like burning inside of you to do it, then nothing should really stop you from doing it. Even if you have to start small and then expand, like as time goes, and if you see things get better, especially now, I'd say just go for it and like do your research. And we're doing it because we have the passion, and then we want to share that with everybody. And I don't want people who have a certain skill to just not do it because you're just frustrated and just too much. But it's like we're doing it because we want to. If we have something or a talent or some kind of creativity, we should share it, especially if it's in you, it's part of you. It's like, share it with people.
Yeah. What message do you hope to leave your audience with through your work?
I think seeing like a normal, like a regular person just going out and doing what they love, and like to be inspired to do that as well, even if it's not a business. I never thought that people would come, and they're coming sometimes from out of town. And when I first started, I was shipping like to the East Coast. I shipped to Japan one time. So it's like, that's kind of crazy, and it's like, okay, I could keep doing this, and it kind of motivates you, I think just to inspire someone to go out and do what you want to do.
That's really nice. So lastly, where can people find your work?
I do have a Yelp page, and there's other pictures that customers post on there.
Okay.
Because I always ask, if you take pictures, send it to me so I can repost it or, put it on Yelp so then other people can see it too. And I have a Facebook page as well. Okay.
But yeah, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking time to talk to me, because I really like the way you were talking about your heritage and how it's implemented to the things that you make. And I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah, and it's and people or my friends who really know me, they're like, Chola desserts, and I'm just like, but it's a cultural thing,
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't have to be one in order to,
Yeah.
and so I got some flack from some people who were
Yeah, I
like,
feel like it has a negative connotation when they don't understand like the cultural significance behind that.
But then even like friends that either have their own small businesses and they're just like, and it doesn't matter. No, I don't speak Spanish, but I wasn't raised to speak it,
Yeah.
But I think I always yearned to have that cultural influence, and I'm just creating it myself. I didn't grow up with it, so now I want to be a part of something, so I just had to create it on my own.
I had a great time interviewing Erin and Janeen. Make sure to check out all of the work. Everything will be linked in the description. They're so talented. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to the Mosaic YouTube channel, and thank you so much for watching.